We have 2 minutes.
This guy has an address in Ukaipa. Why are we getting this?
Oh, there's something that.
I do show 9:30.
Okay, good morning. We'll call the meeting of the Western Municipal Water District Board for November 5th, 2025 to order. And may we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Director Gardner,
I am here.
Director Torres. Present. Director Dinstedt.
I am present. Good morning.
Good morning. Director Rizvi.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. President Roten.
And I am also here.
Thank you. President Roten, you do have a quorum today.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Juan, and I'm going to try to say this correctly, but please tell me if I didn't. Mazariegos? Oh, yes. My Spanish in high school paid off a tiny bit. Senior Operations Technician 1, Operations Automation Electrical Services Department. So, thank
Good
you.
morning, everybody. Like I said, Juan Mazariegos, Electrical Service Department here. I've had the pleasure of serving the Water District for about 8 years now. So if you'd want to follow me, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll go to public comments. Ms. Ford, do we have any public comments this morning?
President Roten, we did receive 2 written comments. Those comments are on the dais for the board to review. If anyone would like to see those comments, they're welcome to contact me at boardsecretary@wmwd.com, and I'll be happy to share those with you. And I've received no request to speak in the audience today.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the consent calendar, items 5A through E. Are there any questions or items to be pulled from the board?
Move approval. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Whenever you're ready for roll call, please. Vote, roll call vote.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Torres,
Yes.
Director Dinstedt,
Aye.
Director Rizvi,
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item 6, Mr. Miller, are there any items to be added to the agenda?
There's nothing to add today.
Okay, oh, I saw you go like this. I thought maybe you were going to say there was one thing.
There's not.
Okay. All right. And moving along to item 7, the action agenda. 7A, authorize the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the City of Murrieta for the Murrieta Public Library Expansion Non-Functional Turf Transformation Project. Mr. Miller?
Thank you very much. Michelle Adams is going to present this to the board. We presented it, had a nice discussion at ComGov. And so, Michelle, it's all yours.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, President Roten, members of the board. As Craig mentioned, we did take this to the Community and Government Affairs Committee last week, so this is a recommendation coming out of the committee. And the item being brought before you today requests that the board authorize the general manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the City of Murrieta to provide funding in support of the turf transformation project associated with the expansion of their public library. Next slide, please. So during this presentation, I'm going to give you a quick recap of the first phase of the partnership, and then we're going to move into a proposed second phase, highlight some of the regional collaboration, outline the funding sources, and then I'll close with some next steps. Next slide, please. So 3 years ago, we launched a pilot program designed to help our community partners turn high visibility, water-thirsty lawns into living examples of water-wise landscapes. That program wasn't just about replacing turf. It was about inspiring change and modeling leadership through visible, tangible examples for our community. Not long after we launched the program, the Murrieta Public Library reached out to us. They had just received a grant from the Library Foundation to expand their children's library, and we were looking for partners who shared our vision for educational environmental spaces. It was a perfect alignment, a community institution ready to grow, and a regional water agency ready to help that grow sustainable. As the retail water provider for the library, Western Water has taken the lead on guiding the city through the turf transformation projects for the space while preparing the neighborhood water agencies to ensure our region's commitment to water efficiency and seeing it fully realized. So in phase one, we were able to remove about 5,100 square feet of turf, which is saving us about 82,851 gallons of water annually just in that one space of the facility. We instituted a pollinator garden there so that the schools could come over and see the beautiful butterflies, the importance of bees in our environment. And they also have a seed library, which we talked about at the ComGov meeting, where people can come, they can get seeds for water-wise landscapes, plant them, and then return the seeds. So it's a seed exchange library in a sort. So this was a really great new education opportunity for the area, and they partner with the school across the street to bring it over into the library. Next slide, please. So with phase two, as the library is continuing to expand, they're indoors, we want to make sure that we're supporting that outdoor space. So this project proposes that we convert another 6,600 square feet of turf into a climate-appropriate garden, saving more than 100 gallons of water a year. So in helping the library do their first phase and the second phase, we're going to be saving nearly 200,000 gallons of water annually just at this one particular site. So the project will also integrate interpretive signage to promote long-term awareness of water-efficient landscaping. As I go into talk about the partnerships with this project, it's also with Rancho California Water District, Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, and Eastern Municipal Water District. As the primary retail water provider in that area, we are taking the lead, but that interpretive signage will also educate people coming to the library and understanding who their neighborhood water agencies are and the services that we provide. So this phase builds on the success of phase one by expanding both the environmental and the educational impact. Next slide, please. So when I talk about the regional collaboration, as I mentioned, we are the lead because we are the retail water provider for that specific facility, but that area is served by 4 different water districts. So we're collaborating with all of those water districts to serve the entire Murrieta community. So we're utilizing what we call wholesale programmatic funding within our budget. So this is a pocket of funding that we allocate every single year to each of our retail water agencies for pilot programs, research and development, and projects that have a water saving component. We've worked with both Elsinore and Rancho Water to ensure that they could use that funding for this particular project. We're also going to be providing them rebate program support. So SoCal Water Smart has their indoor-outdoor water devices as well as their turf replacement rebate program. So we're working alongside the Murrieta Public Library to help highlight for them where the opportunities are inside as well as where the opportunities are outside with weather-based irrigation controllers, efficient irrigation, turf replacement, all of that. Next slide, please. So with this memorandum of understanding, the scope of work and the funding are clearly outlined. So Western Water's funding support is up to $85,000, as well as giving them guidance through the rebate program and the application process. One of the things that we've recognized as we are expanding our support of the turf replacement program for our CII and our public agency customers, CII being commercial, industrial, and institutional customers, we are making sure that they understand the application process, that they understand the documentation that has to happen before they can submit and get their application approved. And then also helping them document along the way so that when they submit their rebate application for reimbursement to Metropolitan, they have all their T's crossed, all their I's dotted, and there is very little pushback from any organizations for them to get their rebate funding. With the City of Murrieta, the MOU outlines the provision of the publicly accessible site. We are very specific on calling it a publicly accessible site because we want customers to be able to partake in the garden. We want them to be able to go out, walk around, have educational opportunities out there. We're also helping them with their rebate application submission and the reporting. I'll share a little bit of a story. As we were going through this process, Metropolitan increased their supplemental funding for the turf replacement rebate program. So they were originally only going to get $5 per square foot. Now they're getting almost $10 per square foot, which is amazing. One of the biggest challenges there was that we had to turn around the rebate application and the approval super quickly because the City of Murrieta was ready to break ground. So thanks to our partners over at MWD and the relationships that we've really forged with them over the last year or two, they were able to reprioritize us up the list so that they could get somebody out here from Metropolitan to quickly do a walk around the property, observe what was happening, take the pictures that they needed, and we were able to get approval on their rebate application within a 2-week window, which is almost unheard of. And I really attribute that to our water efficiency team and Ken Smith, who is on Zoom, who has really taken the opportunity to build those relationships at Met so that we can make these once in a while special asks and then they get answered. Next slide, please. So funding sources, as I mentioned, about $50,000 is going to be coming from the Western Water Retail Agency programmatic funding. So this is $25,000 that Rancho Water has said, I want to use my Western Water funding for this project, and $25,000 that Elsinore Valley has said, I want to use my Western Water wholesale programmatic funding for this project. So that's the $50,000. We are also utilizing Metropolitan member agency administered program funding. So you guys may recall, I've come to the board a few times with projects with this, what we call MAP programming. And this is funding that we try to use for regional projects. It's about $840,000 every 2 years that we get from Metropolitan to put into water saving programs. And so with this, we are submitting a request for about $35,000. All of this funding is on a reimbursement basis. So they have to demonstrate the work has been completed, they have to submit receipts for that work, and then we reimburse, and then Metropolitan reimburse. And so that total funding is up to $85,000. Next slide, please. So with that, we are asking that this board authorize the general manager to execute the memorandum of understanding with the City of Murrieta. We're going to continue supporting the rebate program application as it goes through the process to make sure that it sails through smoothly. And then we have our ongoing coordination with the city and the retail agency partners on the landscape design, on making sure that we have the interpretive signage done, that we are part of the ground or ribbon cutting ceremony, and that we have opportunities for our retail agency partners to be part of all of that process along the way. Next slide, please. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, do we have questions from the board? Of course, yes. Director Dennis.
So not really a question, just a comment.
Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
So the comment being that I have seen several staff along with electeds from City of Murrieta who have already thanked me for this. So if we don't vote on this and pass it, I'm probably going to end up getting killed in my sleep. So, yeah, so I'm just saying they already think this is cash in the bank and already done, but they are really excited about this. And for those of you, if you've not spent some time down in that area, the library backs up to the new auditorium, outdoor amphitheater area and space. This is a highly visible, well-traveled, well-utilized space throughout the year. In fact, the Field of Honor is being planted as we speak right now, and that is adjacent to this area. So this is not something that people are only going to see a very small period of time. You know, all the schools come over during the Field of Honor, and if you've never taken a trip down to the City of Murrieta to see the Field of Honor, it is quite a sight. They've got some 2,000, 3,000 flags that they plant. And you walk through and people sponsor the flags. They take them home once the event is done to honor their veterans and their loved ones. So it is quite a thing to see. So with that, I am happy to move this item when appropriate.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? And I am told that we have Kristen Crane, Assistant City Manager of City of Murrieta, and Brian Crawford, Municipal Services Director. Are they here or on Zoom? or-
On Zoom.
Oh, okay. Would either of you like to say anything?
Good morning. I'm Kristen Crane, Assistant City Manager, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to express our appreciation. As Director Denstead said, the City of Murrieta is very, very appreciative of this opportunity to partner with Western Water District, as well as recognizing the contributions of Rancho and Elsinore Valley as well. We have had a tremendous partnership with the Pollinator Garden, and now this taking it to the next level is really phenomenal. I also want to highlight that our library is very highly visited from citizens from throughout Riverside County, frankly, and primarily Western Riverside County, but we can tell that based on where patrons return the books that they check out from our library. They get returned in Hemet, in Paris, and so we know that we have people who come to visit our library from elsewhere and return the books. So that's to say that this is going to be an area that is very visible and seen and appreciated, and we're basically blowing out the walls of the existing garden to make way for the expansion, but then also to turn it into more of a usable space that can be programmed, that we can have story times outside, and to do more educational workshops as well, even related to landscaping. And so, again, we just really appreciate the partnership. And I also want to acknowledge Michelle and Ken and Sarah and the others that have helped make this possible, like really at a breakneck pace. So one other thing I'll say is that this is an $8 million project. It surpassed what our original budget, well, when I say that, I mean the entire 4,500 square foot expansion plus the garden. So we stretched seeing this as really a strategic investment for our community. And that has meant that we've had to do a community fundraising campaign. Just last night, the school district superintendent presented $1,800 worth of pennies that were collected by local students. And so we've had, PTAs and Rotaries and neighbors contributing. And so partnering with the water district is in keeping with that, seeing this as a community oriented project. So thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words and express our appreciation.
Oh, thank you so much for being available to do that. We appreciate it. And Ms. Ford, before we vote, were there any public comments?
There are none.
Okay. So we had a motion and a second, and I think we're ready whenever for the roll call vote.
We are.
And
Director Gardner,
Thank you, Michelle, for the presentation.
Director Torres,
Yes, to make sure that Brenda stays safe.
Right. Thanks, appreciate that.
Director Dinstead,
Aye.
Director Rizvi,
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Director Dinstead is safe. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank goodness. And thank you for Kristen being here today. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to 7B, approve a capital project budget and award a purchase order and service contract to upgrade the Western Municipal Water District's licensed microwave data communications network.
Tim will be presenting this morning.
Okay.
Stand back.
I'm just curious if there's an acronym for that.
I wondered that too.
We'll come up with one. Good morning, members of the board. This item was discussed at the October 13th Finance Committee meeting. I am joined by members of the teams from Information Services and Automation Electrical Services to make sure I don't mess this up. I think the deck was stacked because they had Juan actually do the pledge today, so he's on the Automation Electrical Services team. So here we go. This project is here before you today because components of Western Water's current information and data communication system are obsolete and do not meet updated operational performance, and security goals. Staff are requesting 3 actions from the Board of Directors this morning. 1, approve a capital budget of $234,000 for the licensed microwave data communications network upgrade project and amend the fiscal year 2025-2026 board-adopted capital improvement and facilities plan for the project by carrying forward $225,000 that was budgeted in last fiscal year's budget. The budget impact section of the staff report details this transfer and the use of reserve funding. 2, authorize the general manager to issue a purchase order for $129,309 to Tidal Wave Wireless of Santa Ana, California, for the purchase of project parts and materials. 3, authorize the general manager to execute a service contract in the amount of $73,337 with Sun Wireless of San Diego, California, for the installation and configuration of the project equipment. The project will replace the current aging wide area network, which has been in service since 2012. The new system will use standardized, licensed microwave radios, aligning compatibility, support, and service needs between the Information Services Managed Business Network and the Automation and Electrical Services Managed SCADA networks. Of significant importance, the new system will also feature enhanced security support, supporting modern standards and built-in encryption. New applications, security systems, operational data systems, and cloud-hosted services have all contributed to the needs for improved bandwidth and faster data transmission. Upgrading and replacing the system is essential to ensure reliability and meet the performance and security needs of the current business environment. The external costs for the project are divided into 2 areas: parts and materials, and the installation and configuration of the new equipment. Staff obtained 3 quotes for the parts and materials needed based on the requirement for a new system. Members of the Information Services and the Automation and Electrical Services team determined that the quote provided by Tidal Wave Wireless best met the project requirements, provided the best overall value, and the proposed equipment met the district's SCADA standards. Staff also advertised the installation and configuration services for bidding on Planet Bids. 5 bids were received and opened on July 31st, 2025. Staff then determined the bid from Sun Wireless was the lowest cost and the most responsive and responsible bid. So on behalf of the Information Services and the Automation and Electrical Services team, I am requesting that the board approve the necessary project budget and the execution of the recommended purchasing documents as spelled out at the top of the agendized staff report. If you have any technical questions, there are members in the audience who can answer those. There's also one of the vendors, Sun Wireless, Eric Solberg, is here as well. So with that, I'm looking for an approval.
Okay, any questions from the directors?
So move.
No? We have a motion and a second. Did you hear both of those? Would anyone, before we vote, would anyone in the audience like to speak at all about their projects? Aren't you going to ask your normal question? Guess not.
No request to speak, President Roten, and no
Okay.
public comment.
All right. Okay, I think we're ready to vote.
Director Gardner. Director Torres.
Yes.
Director Denstedt. Director Rizvi.
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for being here today.
Tim's relieved. He didn't want to mess that up for the
No.
IS team.
Did a wonderful job. Okay, so we'll move on to item 8, which are the reports. Mr. Ballinger, do we have a general counsel report?
Good morning, President Rotten. We do not.
Okay. And Mr. Miller, do we have a general manager or staff report?
I do. I have quite a few things to report today. Under the category of events that we've been attending, went to the Murrieta State of the City on October 15th. Also, it's interesting, we've been on the 75th anniversary circuit.
Recording in progress.
Well, thank you for recording me. It started with Eastern. So on October 16th, Eastern had a very nice ceremony that I think we were all at. I think we were all at. They very well done on their 75th anniversary. Then we were at the Three Valleys 75th anniversary
Oh, wow.
last week on October 30th. So those were fun. They had a very different tone to their two meetings. Three Valleys had a really funny video that they did as kind of a news report from 75 years ago
Oh, no.
Oh,
that internal staff did.
No, it was fabulous, I have to tell you. So they kind of did an era video, and it
Yeah.
started with the beginning and doing stuff that was area or period specific, and it was very, very entertaining because they did the whole wigs and the get up
Oh
and the
my
dress and the whole bit. It was very creative. It was very entertaining. They weren't sure how the audience was going to take it, and we all loved it. So.
nice.
So kudos to them
Yeah.
for their creativity and how they presented all this, because it really was good.
Including the general
so.
manager dressed up as a newscaster, 75 years ago, in a hat and smoking a cigarette.
Smoking a
while he was
cigarette and
doing the
everything, yeah,
newscast.
no, it was quite amusing, no, and knowing their general manager.
Yeah, he's
it-
never smoked in
no,
his
it was
life. He's
quite a
like-
stretch.
He's like, how do I do this?
Oh, funny. Well, if I could just make a quick comment about the Eastern event, which I did get to attend. I thought that they had one of the most unique, well, first of all, the whole thing was amazing. The breakfast was served hot. The caterers were wonderful, but they had the most unique take-home gift. So the boxes on our tables looked like could have had a mug in them, which I thought, well, that'll be nice, put in my mug collection that I try not to collect too many of, but they're significant. And when I opened it up and saw that Viewmaster with the 3 reels, and of course, I'm old enough to know what a Viewmaster is. And in fact, I probably still have one. They're usually red in my downstairs game closet. And with the 3-dimensional pictures, and I've told so many people about that. I just thought it was incredible. So I just wanted to share that.
That was great. We participated in the Riverside Chamber College and Career Fair, so I've talked to the board a lot about succession planning and building our industry. So we're walking the talk. We had 10 employees out there doing their best to encourage our college students to take up careers in the water industry. We've actually had to kind of control how many employees go, because we throw that out there. Would anyone like to go? And I went a few years ago, and you couldn't walk by the Western
Yeah.
booth because we clogged the entire hallway with so many employees that were enthusiastic to recruit others. So just 10 this time. Last week, we held one of our quarterly all-hands meetings for employee appreciation. This one was kind of fun. Two presentations. I shared our annual accomplishments at a board meeting recently, so we did a version of that presentation for the employees also, so that they're fully aware of how great they are and all the good things that they all do, because they don't see all the other groups. They know what their group does. So I shared that. The other thing that I shared is the results from our employee engagement survey. So we do this every couple years, and it's an anonymous survey that goes out. We hire Intergage to do this. As a top workplace program, and we get the results back, and it's really informative for the leadership team, because we had 83% of the employees responded to the survey, which is great. I work somewhere else, they'll remain unnamed. They couldn't get 30% of their employees to even fill out the survey. So getting 83% is really good. We got nearly 450 comments. So you can just say, I agree, strongly disagree, strongly agree, or you can say, I'd like to make a written comment. So we got 450 written comments, which could be a bad sign, except if you read all 450 like I did, it is really rewarding, because the vast majority of those comments are complimentary of Western. So it was really fun. our overall workplace experience score was 85%. So what's that mean? So that's an accumulation of a whole bunch of different metrics and questions that come together to give you that score. You could think of it as maybe the employee engagement score. So 85% is off the charts high. So we did something kind of fun, as we said, well, let's look for other scores to put that in context. So staff found a Gallup poll from 2024 of the engagement level of the national workforce. Anyone want to guess what it was?
Less than 50.
31%. So we're at 85%. So we're proud of that. A couple of other things that they do is they kick out information to the leadership team. They're like, oh, here's some areas that you can improve on. Here's some areas you should be really proud of. So the top highlights is an enormously high sense of inclusion at Western, that we have supportive managers, and this one is really important, that we do meaningful work. So that's what the employees are telling us. So that's really good. So love that. That was really fun. Went to the Southern California Water Coalition on October 23rd. So that was kind of some of our engagements. As far as kind of GM activities and leadership issues, I continued to try and meet with Southern California leaders. I met with Michelle Bender, who's the city manager at the city of San Marcos, as kind of a leadership discussion, which is really interesting. I like to keep in touch with the city managers to see what city manager world's like and talk about what water district manager world's like and compare and contrast some of our challenges. Also sat down with Lizette Free, the new city manager at Norco, and their new public works director, Sam Nelson. We've sat down with her before when she first started. I mean, brand new. We wanted to let her get a little more comfortable in the seat because our water issues with Norco are complicated with our agreements with the Arlington Salter and things. And so we wanted to make sure that both she and Sam understood those agreements and know exactly what's going on with our DeSalter enterprise system, and the contracts are really complicated. So great meeting with them. They're taking lots of notes. Staff met with Heather Dyer from San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District and her staff. You know, we have very complex issues as water masters up there, and the basin optimization program that we're trying to run up there. So lots going on that front. Met has been super busy. We, in addition to just the normal Met meetings, I have a lot of other like kind of collaborative meetings with other Met member agency managers. So Eastern IUA, MODOC, Three Valleys, and Devon met for dinner on the 16th. Then I was up at the Met Camp for Water meeting on the 20th. I was up for the Met GM Roundtable the next day on the 21st, and then I attended virtually the Met Member Agency Managers meeting on the 31st. So lots of Met activities. Shivaji has now started, so he is considered the Met GM designate, and so he's kind of riding shotgun with Devon until the end of the year, where he takes over at the start of January. Operationally, there is a Lake Matthews shutdown. You remember during the summer they had an emergency shutdown because a gate was stuck. That was a 5-day shutdown. Corona was able to get through that just fine. They unstuck the gate. They saw some other problems. They have quagga mussel buildups and other things, so they needed a longer shutdown to really go and repair that. So they're in the middle of that right now. We're in day 3 of that shutdown. Water demands are much lower now, so there's a lot less risk. Corona has been coordinating with us and Met. Our operations team is on it with them. We've been working with them for some time to make sure we all know where everyone stands. As of now, their storage capacity is at 88% of capacity, so they're in really good shape. And we're checking every single day on how they're doing to make sure that they're going to weather this shutdown fine. We're kind of overclocking the mill's gravity line system to kind of move water kind of around the long way to get to them to make sure they have enough water supply. So it's going well. Oh, everyone read the Special Districts magazine? You might want to look at page 12. Director Denstead made it, so you all have it in front of you. So for her role as being the president, being put into the president role at WRCOG.
Oh, nice.
There you go. She's a mover and a shaker. She's a mover and a shaker, according to the magazine.
Oh, nice. Will you sign mine?
It's not my title. Scheduling, two scheduling things for the board. I'd like to suggest that we cancel the December 3rd board meeting. It's in the middle of Aqua.
It's my
We're
favorite one.
I'm sorry. We could vote. We're gonna have a lot of board members down there.
Western, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, not judging who's better or not, but we may not have a quorum to be here on the 3rd. So I suggest that we cancel that. We also are light on the December 15th Finance Committee. Rick had suggested that we don't have enough business items, and probably better that we just cancel that, not waste the board members' time to get them to show up. So those are my recommendations. I'll move forward with that unless there's an opposition out of the board to cancel both of those.
The only thing I would suggest on finance is it's a ways away, and if something were to come up, let's go ahead and do it. But if it stays light, I think not having it is fine.
Okay, great. We also have a board meeting that week, and if something did pop up, we could also handle it that way too if we needed to. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the directors? No? All right, we'll move on to director comments and requests. SAPA, Director Gardner.
SAPA actually met a couple of times since the last report on October 25th. They largely routine things. They made some updates, largely required by state law changes to the personnel handbook. They increased the medical insurance cap from $2,168.93 to $2,258.61, which is consistent with what the Aqua JPIA offers. That's where their insurance comes from. And they authorized the general manager to accept Bridgerock Construction proposal to finish the lobby security improvements, and accepted the job as done. And yeah, it looks really good.
Great.
And it is much more secure. And it received and filed the required AB 2561 vacancy and recruitment report.
So did the furniture and everything show?
Yes,
Okay, good. Yay. Okay.
yeah. You'll have to come sit on it.
Yes, I'll have to come sit on it. Okay.
Then yesterday, SAPA met, and we're working on the 50th anniversary celebration for SAPA. Craig was interviewed. They're doing a video on it. Craig was interviewed. I was interviewed. Some former board members and executive directors were interviewed. And so I haven't seen any of it yet because it was just taped yesterday, but I think it's going to be a nice deal. They're going to do the celebration sometime next month. We don't have a specific date or location yet, but we need to do it next month because we'll be 51 next year.
Oh, gosh.
So that's partly driven by the change in executive director or general manager. The previous one had not planned to do anything. The new one thinks we ought to do something, and the
50
board.
years,
Yeah, the board concurred. And then at the meeting yesterday, in addition to the taping, they put the classification and compensation study that's been ongoing for quite some time and has been somewhat controversial in terms of the comparable agencies they looked at. They looked at a lot of big ones and said, gosh, our employees don't make as much as Met employees. And it was pointed out that SOMPA is not met. So, or any of the other big ones that they compared to. So they revised the list of entities that they looked at, but there were still some concerns about it. So that study has now been put on hold until SOMPA completes its strategic plan update, which is just kicking off and will be completed next year. So then they'll go back to the class and comp study. And that's it for SOMPA.
Okay. Director Dennstedt, Metropolitan Water?
Yes, thank you. So I did have my Colorado River Aqueduct tour. I took folks to Hoover Dam and to Gene Camp to visit and tour facilities and see everything that went. I partnered with my fellow colleague over at the City of Anaheim, Director Stephen Vessel, and we had a wonderful trip. The group got along great. Everybody had phenomenal questions, and it's always so nice when you mix the group up from different backgrounds and perspectives, so they all have a different take on what they're asking and what they're looking at and what matters to them, and then they all sit down and have really nice discussions. So it was a really great time, and the weather was absolutely perfect. We couldn't have asked for a better time. We thought we were really going to get hit with some heat out there, and it just turned out really nice. As Craig mentioned, we did have the new GM start on Monday officially, so he has now kicked off his title of designate. And I might throw out there and suggest that perhaps we do some type of a little introductory thing or welcome or something if we haven't started putting a spin on something like that. That might be something we consider to do.
We already have him scheduled.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. And then I don't know if I reported last time, so we haven't had a meeting. And the meeting is pushed back a week due to the holiday for next week, so we'll be pushing it back a week. But I don't remember if I reported or not, but LA is going to be getting a new director. Miguel Luna has officially retired, so I have yet to hear who that is. And then I'm going to be attending an event tomorrow that Metropolitan has invited me to attend for the ribbon cutting and dedication of the new heli hydrant out at Yorba Linda. So I'm really excited to go out there and take pictures and see what it's all about and get a firsthand look at one of those up close and personal.
Was Met a partner in that?
Yes. So that's what we're doing out there. So I will have more to come, and perhaps I can send pictures in ahead of time and we can post that for the next meeting. And then, gosh, there was one other thing.
Sorry.
Now you distracted
I'm
me.
sorry.
Gosh, if I think of it, I'll come back to it. So that's all I have for now.
Okay. We'll move on to Chino Basin Water Master. Mike, did you have a report besides yesterday's?
Yes.
Sorry.
They're actually, there's a meeting on, where's the date? Here we go, October 23rd. They started with a kind of a pre-meeting, not an official meeting, but a briefing on an update of an old economic impact financial study, looking at, and this went back to, I think, it's 20 years or so old. And it looked at the overall benefit of things happening in water in the Chino Basin, and it's determined that basin-wide there is clearly a benefit, basin-wide benefit to the things that are happening. This study didn't quantify who got how much benefit, and there was pressure to try to quantify that because there are some who feel like they don't get what they see as their fair share of the benefit. I get a little bit, but they get a lot, and that's not fair. So they tried to update it. It's very narrow in what it's looking at, and it did indicate, it did try to quantify benefits a little differently with new information. There were some assumptions in the old study which went the right direction, but some didn't pan out to be quite as beneficial as estimated. But overall, it is still a benefit. The concern about this is there are those who are looking at this very narrow study and trying to draw major conclusions for broader areas than just who gets what, and maybe trying to direct things, operations in the basin according to that. And that's narrow thinking. It won't work well, and it would be not good for the basin if it were done that way. So that's something that the board's going to have to keep an eye out for. Then in the actual meeting, they took only one action, which was to receive and approve their annual financial report. It was a clean audit, and everybody is happy. And that's it for Watermaster that I was involved in. But Laura covered a special meeting that occurred yesterday. So Laura?
Well, and I can't tell you about it because it was closed session.
Pretty much it was all closed session.
There you go.
So,
Was there a reportable action?
no,
Okay.
No.
They had a closed session, there's no reportable action.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, and,
That's- I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go,
I was just gonna say, that's it for Chino Basin Watermaster.
okay. Director Denstedt remembered what I interrupted her about.
I did, and I apologize. So it was an announcement or a notice that went out to us recently, and the passing of Director Stephen Boyce. He was a person who, when I arrived at Metropolitan, and he represented Callegas, that he took me in under his wing. He was somebody that stayed up at the hotel because of his travel distance. And we had many conversations, and he was so gracious to answer all of my questions. He was a very knowledgeable, intelligent, and passionate person. He had a construction and engineering background, and he was genuinely just a very kind person. And when he left, he had actually married, was able to go back and marry his high school sweetheart, and her name was Brenda. And I'm so glad and so fortunate to have known him, and I'm so happy that he was able to make that connection with her again after so many years of them being apart, and that they got to spend that, obviously, very short amount of time together. But I just wanted to acknowledge his passing and his contribution to Metropolitan and to water in general for his many years of service that he did. So just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Thank you. Let's see, we did, CDA, there is a actual special meeting tomorrow. And then RCRA. November 20. Okay, and WRCOG, Director Denstedt.
Yes, WRCOG. So we did have our executive committee meeting on Monday, and one of the things that was passed was the IREN program is going to be doing some additional fellows. There's some funding out there, so a number of agencies are going to be able to get fellows from that. And obviously, Western, on the other side of that coin, has taken advantage of many fellows, and we've been able to employ them, and they've gone on to good things. So really excited about being able to find funding for that program and support some of our youth that are coming into the public policy area, and certainly under the energy umbrella of WRCOG. So wonderful thing that we get to do with that. And then I also report on we had a closed session item in regards to the executive director, and there was no reportable action. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah?
No meeting this month.
No. And how about Aqua?
Yes, Aqua, I have a bunch of information. So we did have a Region 9 board meeting last week. We discussed the program that is coming up for next week between Regions 8, 9, and 10. So it looks like we're going to have a very good turnout for that. We did confirm a number of speakers. So Congressman Ken Calvert is a confirmed speaker. So he will be coming and speaking at that event. We look forward to all of his water knowledge and how wonderful he's been, such a great advocate for us in the water industry here. And then we also have confirmed Bill Hastingcamp will be coming out and having some conversations about the activities with Colorado River and a variety of different things that are going on. So look forward to seeing you all there. Hopefully you have already put your reservation in and you're going to be in attendance at that. And then we're also trying to formulate and put together for the Region 9 meeting that we are going to have at the Aqua Fall Conference in San Diego for the week of December the 3rd. We're going to try to put a rolling calendar forward for the board meeting so that everybody can kind of put it on calendar and we can notice the organization. So if people want to attend our board meetings, that we have that on calendar and they already know it's in existence. It's so hard sometimes to get those things at the last minute dedicated, so we're really trying to make an effort to put that forward for the next year. And then we will be doing introductions as well for the new members who will be joining us after the election of the regions. So Carol Lee Gonzalez Brady will be leaving us, but not far. She got voted in as the vice president for Aqua, and so she's going to be leaving the Region 9 board, but we are joined by Joe Grindstaff, who is going to be taking over as our chair. And then Russ Martin is coming from the desert, and then the rest of the members will be remaining. So we did have a little bit of change up. Gina Dockstetter decided to step away, so she's a board member down at IID, and she's a farmer and ag, and she's got a busy life. So it was really difficult for her to try to find time for the meetings, and so she decided to just step away. And so she'll be replaced by Russ Martin, who is coming from Desert Water Agency. So we look forward to his attendance and joining our group and putting forward his ideas. And then one last thing that I have to report on is the Executive Committee for Aqua has decided to refly the recruitment for the executive director position. And they weren't able to find a successful candidate that everybody could agree upon. And it was decided that they were just going to refly the position. And so they're going to be working on doing that recruitment and going through the process for a second attempt to fill that position. So more to come on that. I hopefully will have more to report in the Region 9 meeting down at conference. Other than that, that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move to director comments. Director Torres?
Yes, thank you. Close that. I just report that we went to the Southern California Water Coalition dinner. It was my first time, so I didn't know I had to park, another city away in order to get to my parking lot, my car quickly. But I did have a really, really good time. It was, for me, unexpected, but they honored Miguel Luna for his service at Met, and so it was really awesome. He was a really close friend of mine, so that was exciting. Just want to, I guess,
Bless you.
coming up, we have Veterans Day, so giving are honoring all our veterans. Those are the staff members that were veterans. Thank you for your service. Anyone in the community. On Friday is this Tim Strack Park grand opening, so I'll be there. I mean, again, just because he was a really close friend, but it's a huge deal. And then lastly, I am partnering with actually Director Rizvi's nonprofit and the PIC group to have a food drive. There's a lot of need in the community right now. And so if you would like to donate or anything, just reach out to me directly. We're trying to feed as many families as we can before the holiday season. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Director Rizvi?
Like, while I was talking we were talking about Aqua. So I get this magazine from, Aqua News, and I love reading through it, and I love to see their upcoming events. But something I've started noticing for last couple of editions that they have the most clicked Aqua News, and Western Water Completes Well 7 was one of the top news in September. So I just wanted to share with that I'm like, it's not only, I'm like, a lot of people are reading about what the projects are being done. And so I thought it was very cool. So wanted to share with everyone.
Did they mention it was completed ahead of schedule and under budget?
Yes, and I don't know about under budget or anything, but it was really, it was a really cool story to read about. So if you want to read, you can do the Aqua newsletters.
Okay.
All righty.
Director Tenstedt, do you have anything else?
I did have a couple of other things. I'm going to be attending a luncheon for the sponsors that come in and help us with General Assembly. So I believe Director Rizvi is joining me at that event. So we look forward to meeting with all those sponsors. You know, they really help us with that event, and a lot of costs are deferred because of the sponsorships. And so we just want to make sure that we thank them properly. And then the other thing I wanted to mention as well, that I attended the 3rd District Supervisor's State of the District address. One little notation on that one. So there was a coin that was on the table as a takeaway that said 3rd District on it. What people didn't realize, putting it in their pockets because they thought it was more of a challenge coin, it was actually chocolate. Okay.
Oh.
So note to self, if you're gonna make chocolate, make chocolate so that people don't put it in their pockets as it gets warm through. Anyway, so enough said on that. I think a couple people were surprised by the fact that it was melting in there. Anyway, so so just kind of a little notation there. And then the other thing is, I did want to mention, not only is it Veterans Day, but we have to do a special shout out for this, and I apologize, but it is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. So Semper Fi to my Marines, being a former spouse of a Marine and having family in the military that served in the Marines. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. And that is all I have.
Okay. Director Gardner?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. President Rote and I attended the Norco Chambers First Responders Lunch with you. It was a good event. It was really nice. Everybody appreciates first responders, but to have a chamber do a special event and recognize some individuals and first responders in general was a nice thing. Yeah. So I appreciate getting to go to that. As Director Torres mentioned, Friday is the opening of Tim Strack Park. Tim was the president of the Firefighters Association for many years, and at least in my opinion, is the person who's had the most impact in improving the City of Riverside Fire Department over the last 20 years of anyone, including the chiefs. Wow. So it's, like Gracie said, it's a big deal and well-deserved. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. And just briefly for my comments, on Saturday, Flabob Airport is holding its, I just read how many years it was, 23rd year celebration for veterans. It's a huge event. It runs, I believe, from 9 a.m. to like 3 o'clock. and it takes place all along the runway. The runway on the side of the runway is open for specific fly-ins and demos and things like that. I believe that the airport itself is not open to traffic that day during those hours. Speaking of restaurants, though, the Flay Bob Cafe that has been there for years is under new ownership, and it's the same owner as the Riverside Airport Cafe, and they are having their grand opening on Saturday. So very excited about that. Also, Flay Bob is doing a fairly organized parade. They've had like smaller, I guess you would call it a parade down the runway, but this year it's more official, and it's going to happen at noon that day. And you can see me in the parade for Habitat for Humanity Riverside, because we have a veterans housing project that is going to break ground. It is going to break ground. I'm hoping before the end of this year. And so we're going to have a little entry into the parade. We'll also be there with a booth. But there's all kinds of activities, and for all ages, families. It's a very, very well-attended event. So I highly encourage you, if you have nothing in your plans already on Saturday, that you stop by there and see what they offer. It's just a super good event. They've been doing it a long time, so it's very organized. And I think that's all I have to report. Thank you, Mike, for mentioning the first responder event. That was very inspiring, and Norco always remembers to honor their folks. I mean, they do it beautifully, and they do it regularly, and it's just nice to see. So I believe that's it for director comments. Do you have any requests for future agenda items? Anybody? Okay. I know we're going to go into closed session, but usually when we come back out, everyone's pretty much gone. And so we will be adjourning in honor of Dwayne Roberts, who is fondly referred to as the keeper of the inn, meaning the Mission Inn, who passed away this week. And Director Gardner is going to say a few words in his memory. I don't know if you want to do that now, Mike, or when we come back. Do you want to do it now?
I think now is probably
Okay.
better, because as you
Yeah.
pointed out, there won't
It's
be
pretty
anybody
quiet in here
when
when we come back. Okay.
So Dwayne Roberts was a veteran. His father ran a butcher shop, and he was not wealthy, but they ate quite a bit of meat. Dwayne invented the frozen burrito, which is where he began making money. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that's
Pretty
where he really began making money. He invested in a very wide variety of things. His companies make more hummus than anyone else in the world.
I didn't know that.
He bought the Mission Inn out of bankruptcy. It had a 8-foot-high chain link fence around it with weeds growing up through the fence. It closed escrow on December 24th, and that evening he went down to his new property and asked to go inside, and the guard said, "You're not on the list." So he did not get to go see his historic hotel on the first day that he owned it. He and his wife Kelly invested a huge amount of money in restoring the Mission Inn. The structural upgrades had been done prior to the bankruptcy, but the interior was ready to be finished, but it really wasn't finished. So they did that. Remarkably, they never took a penny away from the Mission Inn. In the years that made money, they reinvested it in the hotel. In years that it didn't make money, the market was down and they could get labor and materials less expensively, so they did improvements out of their own pockets. They began the Festival of Lights, which is now a huge event, draws hundreds of thousands of people over the course of the event, and 60 to 80,000, depending on weather, for the switch-on ceremony. So it's pretty impressive and very crowded. Mr. Roberts was interested in a wide variety of things. He was very interested in animal welfare. He founded a organization, a shelter for dogs and cats, and named it after his mother, the Mary S. Roberts Pet Adoption Center, which is a really good place. I served on their board for a while. He was very interested in children and education, and contributed lots of money to organizations that support children, especially homeless and kids in foster care. Yesterday, he died November 1st. He was 88. And yesterday, the County Board of Supervisors declared Dwayne Roberts Day, and that happened to be his 89th birthday. So I think, yeah, a truly impressive guy. And Riverside would not be the city it is had the Mission Inn not been restored. And we'll never know if somebody else would have restored it, but we do know that Dwayne Roberts did. So, thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Okay, with that, we will move into closed session. Mr. Ballinger?
Yes, the board will be meeting to discuss the two items that are listed on the agenda. Although I don't anticipate there will be any reportable action, we will be reporting out after the closed session.
Okay, thank you.
We are ready, Director, whenever you are.
Okay, we are coming back into open session. Mr. Ballinger, do you have a report?
Yes, the board met in closed session to discuss the two items that are listed on the agenda, and there was no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 at 9:30. And we will now adjourn in honor of Dwayne Roberts at 10:55? 11:55?
10:57.
Oh, 10:57, okay. 10:57. All right, thank you.
Thank you.